Hello, mindful ladies. It is so good to see you today. I am Michelle Merrix with the MindfulHER Woman, coming to you from WCTV. And today, I'm excited for today's topic for sure. It is something that I even brought notes. Aren't you excited? I brought notes. Because there's a couple of things that I want to talk to where I'm going to mesh them together and be very simplistic about it. But if there is something for us ladies that we definitely want to know, last week we talked about emotional intelligence with some communication. And today I want to touch base a little bit more on our emotional maturity. And I'm going to give a few examples of that as well. When you are communicating in a relationship, now again, this could be your spouse, partner, boyfriend, wherever you're at, maybe you're first dating, what have you, but relationships, this includes anyone and everyone we have a relationship with. And what we find in communication is we want to talk very calm and we want to know what we are talking about. And what happens a lot of time, actually, this is the number one problem in relationships, is couples cannot communicate correctly. They have a problem with communication. If we have a problem with communication, then what happens? We're arguing. And then if we're arguing, that could lead more and more. That could even lead to divorce. And we just want to be happy in relationships. But what happens too, what I have found is growing up many times as children, we are not taught how to have a mature conversation. Now, as a child, you can only have a mature conversation so much. But as we're getting older, and people only know what they know, meaning if I have been taught to take something an easier way in emotions, maybe you had parents that fought, maybe you had parents that did not choose emotional, mature conversations with you. They only knew what they knew, and it is based on what we are taught. As we become an adult, if there is one thing that we have seen, is we have seen adult tantrums. I have before been in line in retail and someone is throwing an adult tantrum because something isn't correct or isn't right with their order. If you ever really want to see an adult tantrum, go to a car dealership. Someone's just throwing a fit over their vehicle and they might not realize what's going on, but we've got high emotions. We don't know how to handle ourselves. And these are the three things for me that I see with clients, but what I see overall. There is no surprise that not knowing how to communicate in a relationship with your spouse, what have you, is the number one problem. It's a number one problem in a family is communication. So first of all, as a woman, for you to be very clear and concise and know who you are, you must know your own worth. You must know your own value. And that is a whole subject within its own. And when you know your worth and your value, you then can come from a more calm position. And you're not feeling like you're on the defensive. We don't ever want to go into a conversation, a real conversation, if you want that communication to work. I'm going to give you a very simple communication. And it can work under any circumstance whatsoever. It works with my clients. And it takes a while to understand things. And we also just talked about the let them theory. Mel Robbins in the let them theory, where she wrote the book on let them. Let them, let me. Let people be who they are going to be because we can't control them. However, know your value and know your self-worth. Self-worth, your own value, and self-esteem are different. You need to know who you are as a woman, and you need to feel confident. You have self-esteem, but that's different. That's more on a validation end. However, if you are not knowing your self-worth, that's something that we need to take care of. So as you know, I'm a life coach, and this is what I do. And as I always tell you, I take you from where you are to where you want to be. And in doing that, you first need to know your self-worth, your self-value. Now we want to have emotional maturity. When we talked about intelligence, that's different. I can feel that intelligent-wise, I'm brewing, I'm getting mad, I can feel those emotions coming, I am self-aware, I know how to cope with that, I know what's being handled. Maturity, emotional maturity, let's take a few things. First of all, be flexible. If you're going to sit down and communicate with someone, they're not going to see everything your way. You need to be flexible with what they have to say back, and you need to allow them to say what they need to say. When you sit down and you're very calm, cool, and collective, now we can listen to what they have to say. But this is how to address something I'm going to go over with you too. Take ownership and responsibility for yourself. There are many times I have sat down and it was he did this, he did that, and then he did this, this, and that, and then he was responsible for this. And after I listen, and I will say, okay, I understand everything he did. I understand what's going on. I understand that you would like this or that. Now let's talk about what your ownership is. Let's talk about what your responsibility in this. And what I mean by that, ladies, is you have to have boundaries, as we've talked about many times, but in the emotional maturity, as you know, you're discussing or you know things, and I say to you, okay, what are you responsible for? Okay, so you have a man and you have come together, split up, come together, split up. Where is your responsibility for yourself to not keep going back to this man, that this keeps happening back and forth? I have watched clients, I'm not kidding you, go 20 years of their life on and off again in a relationship, only for it to end off. It's off and it's done. It's ended. And then what happens is we feel, oh, I feel shame. I feel guilt. I spent 20 years of my life with this person. Learn maturity to listen to what this person is telling you, okay? Learn to listen to that. And sometimes you'll never change anyone, as much as no one will ever change you. That will never happen. But take ownership and responsibility for your part. There is responsibility and ownership for your part in every relationship. Take that, because it's not always the other person's fault for everything. How long you decided to stay in that relationship, what you have decided to put up with, what you have decided to let your boundary be crossed, when you have decided not to create your own boundary, and then you wonder why this person has walked all over you. This is where we take ownership and responsibility for ourselves. So flexibility, have your own responsibility. We all know we all don't know everything. If you think you know everything, you don't. So we know people who we think that too. Always you want growth, you know, these types of things. But I'm not going to get into all of this, but you need to be approachable, and along with that self-worth, you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in who you are and in yourself. If there's something in a relationship not going well, you are the first person to know it. They know it. And you must have open communication. So the number one problem in relationships is communication and not being able to communicate. So I want to share with you today, how would I communicate with someone? First of all, come from a very emotional, mature, calm place. If you're not feeling that, don't have that conversation yet. Once you feel calm and you want to exactly know in your mind what it is I want to talk about, be very mindful. The MindfulHER woman is very mindful of her communication and what she's going to say, okay? So the first thing, and this happens all the time when I ask someone, in fact, it just happened with a business client. Okay, you're starting this new business. This is what you want to do. You want to go into coaching. You know what you're good at. We're going to go into coaching. These are the things that you want, or these are the things that you're going to do, but what is it that you want? I'm not sure. What do you mean? What exactly do you want? Where is the big vision? Where is the big picture? I'm not sure. Okay, that says a lot. When you go in to communicate and you go in to talk with someone, the very first thing is ask for exactly what you want. If your feelings are getting hurt too much, if you feel that you're the one doing everything around the house, if you feel that you're the one taking the kids everywhere, there's no participation, if you feel he's working too much and needs to be home more with the family, ask for exactly what you want. And then bring up happiness. This will make me happier in the relationship, and I also in turn feel that this will make you happier. It's not just about your happiness, but this conversation is about your happiness. Meaning, everybody needs to be happy. As happy can be. Happy is a choice. Happy is a choice. Joy, you can have joy internally. Things that really make you happy, you choose that. So when you're choosing to be happy, you also want your partner to be happy. However this communication will work out, we're being flexible. We are also holding our own ownership. When you are holding responsibility, you're holding this conversation. Number one, ask for exactly what you want. Number two is what is going to make me happy? What will make you happy? Then we can both be happy in this situation. The problem has been, and state what the problem is that you feel that issue is within your relationship. The problem is I am up till 11 o'clock at night. I'm doing all these things. You've gone to sleep. I've worked too. You just say what the problem is, but you say it in a very calm voice. Just be very calm. You then want to talk about long term. What do I want and what do I envision in this relationship long term? Long term is, honey, I want us to be together for years and I want us both to be happy. And if we've been through a phase, we can get through it. However, long term envision, this is what I envision us. I envision us, finish raising the kids, keep that where it's at, whatever that situation is for you. But you want someone to know your long term vision. Then they know you're not a short-term person, right? What's your long-term vision of the whole reason that you're communicating? And then I want you to acknowledge the good. Acknowledge everything good in the relationship. This whole relationship is not terrible. And if it is, my question to you would be, in your responsibility and ownership, then why are you still there? That's what I would ask. So you want to acknowledge. So ask for exactly what you want in the entire relationship. Show the happiness, what I feel will make me happy and you happy, and talk about the problem or what you find the issue is. Talk about the long-term envision that you have, and then acknowledge the good. And now I want you to sit back and be quiet. Be quiet, and this person is either going to give you an answer right away, or they're going to say, well, let me think about this. And when that happens, you can start coming to conclusion. You can then start having conclusions and then moving forward. But if you don't communicate your feelings, the other person is never going to know exactly how you feel. So say exactly what you need to feel. I hope that this communication helps you. Again, I'm Michelle Merrix. I am a life coach. At the end here, you will see how to reach me. I do have group clients. I do have private clients that I work with. I work in relationships. I work with improving your confidence and your self-esteem, but your confidence as a woman, knowing your value, knowing who you are, how to communicate. And basically what I do is I help you with being mindful, because a mindful woman is a happy woman. I thank you so much. I thank you for being here. And again, I'm Michelle Merrix with the MindfulHER Woman, WCTV. Thank you.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.